seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, T.N.F time. The Bhoycie boss rolls back in. It's the best intro in the world. I don't care what anyone says. This is show number, I don't know, 145 or something. It might even be more than that we've done already. And every single time I hear it, that intro by Brian Carrigan, it just gets better and better, man. There's no way we're changing that ahead of the season 22-23. And it is season 22-23 that we're going to be discussing tonight, because it is getting ever closer. 2 weeks, baby, till the big kickoff. Some big pre-season games to play, and I think we're seeing that some have already been played. But tonight on the T.N.F, the keys are handed over to you, the passengers, the viewers, whatever you want to call yourself. If you want to get a comment up, all you have to do is hit like, hit subscribe. I'm only kidding. I'll bring up any comment. But it would help if you hit the like and subscribe button. But tonight it's all about what you guys want to talk about. And who better to do that with on the Bhoycie bus tonight than T.N.F regulars, Conor McCann, and of course, David Logue. Lads, how the devil are you?
Very well, Bhoycie. The blood's pumping again after that intro. Raring to go.
You know it, mate. David, what's happening?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little burnt today, but I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. Got a wee bit after sun on. I'll be fine.
You looks all right, mate. You looks all right.
I've had it well.
Before we go any further, right, we have to talk about the photo you sent that you sent on Facebook today. So,
was that the one with the dog? Yes.
I love my friend JD.
So, as some of you may know, David's got a dog called French Eddie, French Bulldog, and he's crept on here a couple of times. Him and David's cat have both managed to get on screen at different times, right? There's a photo of David doing the most awkward sort of lie down on the grass with his dog in front of him. And the caption you put, what was the caption you put?
So what happened was, right, we thought, right, we're on holiday. The missus is on holiday because she's a teacher, so and I've taken 2 weeks off, so it's that case of, right, we need to find something to do. Right, we'll take the dog out for a walk. So where can we go? So we found this place that we thought was a nice flat, just simple woodland walk. Turned out it was a fucking mountain. So we're climbing this fucking hill, and he's a Frenchie, so you gotta watch. Don't overdo him, and it's like, right, he needs to lie down, needs to calm down. So I'm just lying down with him, trying to settle him down a wee bit. And then Lucy thought, I'll take some photos. It's a nice view, blah, blah, blah. And when she showed me the picture, all I could picture was that Michael Jackson's album cover with the tiger. And I thought, someone's gonna get me. So I thought, before someone gets me, I'm gonna get in there first. So I posted the picture of me and the Doug, and underneath it, it's Michael Jackson and his tiger. And I just wrote, same but different. I've got no problem with you sharing the screen if you've got it there. It doesn't bother me. But it was about. I didn't appreciate it right away when it went into the group chat. Kid class.
I think we do need to share it. I think we do
bring it up. It's the album cover of the century.
It's that funny. What was the caption you put above it?
Same but different.
Right, I've got it. We're not even talking about Celtic tonight, guys, right? Saw it. No, you need to see this. This is spectacular. Where the fuck is it? I'm so hopeless with technology.
Here it comes. There's a belter, to be fair. Oh, look at that.
Looks even better the second time I've seen it.
That's the new Celtic, the next Celtic DVD for the Bhoycie Bus album cover.
Absolutely brilliant. But we will move on to the football, guys. But I just thought we'd start on that note because it really did cheer me up today. I thought that is really, really funny. Good pattern, David. Keep up the good work. But gentlemen, we've got a noisy Rangers fan in the group today. The Blue Baron, right, is someone that tends to have good banter with us in the T.N.F. Now,
Blue? I thought it was Red Baron.
Oh, he changed it to Blue because I think Red Scotland and all that were in here. They were all clearly Celtic fans. And I don't know, maybe he started going to Rangers games. I realised what colour they're playing. But as I say, tonight's show is always about, bringing up the comments from the viewers. And at the end of the day, the Blue Barons donated to a Celtic podcast like this a couple of times and he was feeling lively. I think we got knocked out of Bodo Glimt and he sent us £2. So he's a supporter of the channel. So his comments, we could argue are as valid as anyone else's, right? So we'll do that. We'll go down that road, right? We'll go down that road. Blue Baron seems to be in a buoyant mood tonight, guys. He seems to be feeling quite celebratory. Now, I've just double-checked. Rangers aren't playing tonight. They've not got a game and the season's obviously not begun. I'm like, why is he feeling so boisterous, if you like the pun, all about? And it's because he believes his team are selling a player for £25 million. Look, straight in there. Bhoycie, I'm sure you heard. 25 million for Bhoycie. He put that up 4 minutes ago, right before the show had even began. The Blue Baron was in the comments, guys, telling us, look, 25 million for Bhoycie. Look at the next comment. 25 million. He's got right excited about this. Then obviously the dig that no one in the Celtic squad, the whole Celtic squad, isn't even worth 25 million, which was a bit silly. I mean, it's a wee bit silly.
It definitely is.
A club that just earned 40 million. But I think
we just spent 17 million on four players we had last season. So I'm pretty sure we've definitely got more than 25 million worth of players in the squad. Come on, mate.
But hey, apparently we're getting it next season, says the Blue Baron, and he's basing it on Rangers potentially selling a player. So I'm not quite sure how that all works. But 25 million, I think it'd be closer, I don't know. I think when it comes to transfer, I'm stealing this, by the way, because Mark Kearney told me this, he'll be raging, but I'm stealing it because it's that funny. When it comes to fees, right, it's either undisclosed with our rivals, right? Or if it's a Rangers supporter telling you a fee, you've got to break it down like Fahrenheit to Celsius. Do you know what I mean? So see when folks say, oh, it was 90 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that really? It's like 30 degrees Celsius, So I think when they're saying 25 million, you can do the division on a similar sort of ratio from Fahrenheit to degrees, and you'll probably get closer to the amount. He's saying we've got a brave face. I don't. You sell one of your best players, and I'm meant to panic, and you're basing it on 25 million when, funnily enough, every other deal they've done is undisclosed. I always like it when they do it.
Significant undisclosed.
Significant. Sorry, you're right. Significant. But we've given that it's opening because I think the Blue Baron's obviously feeling a bit left out. He was in the comments for the beginning today, telling us how much of a joy it is to see. I mean, see when Kieran Tierney left Celtic for 25 million, we were gutted.
Yeah, it's a weird
Levels,
mentality to have, celebrating a player losing.
But we will not get too roped into that. We'll just have a wee bit of fun to spice up the beginning of the show, because obviously we like at the top of the shows now, guys, to start it a wee bit spicy. Didn't mention that defender's name. Now, let's talk about Celtic. I had a brilliant, if not short, post-match push last night with the punked up warlord Liam Greenlaw back in action. Terry was back in action. It was brilliant to see them both. And there was a lot to take for the game, I think, in terms of what Celtic's actually trying to prepare for here. And I believe Celtic are preparing for the Champions League in the right way. Conor McCann, I'm going to come to you first tonight for a wee change. And I think the actual fixtures that Celtic have played, I know we got sort of the feedback off Liam, but I want your thoughts on it. Do you think this is quite beneficial, what Celtic's doing? Going to places like Legia Warsaw, where it's going to be a sellout because it's in honour of Arthur Boric. Going to a sellout last night against Bannica Strava because of the 100-year anniversary or whatever it was. Okay, it's not quite a cauldron that we're going to because it's a celebratory occasion. I think the full grounds, and that removes that sort of pre-season element from the games a wee bit as well, doesn't it? It makes it feel a wee bit more like, holy shit, we're in a contest here. I think it's been a very shrewd move by Celtic doing this, and I actually like the competitive nature of the two fixtures we've seen so far, and I like the fixtures we've got coming up as well in terms of that.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, I didn't actually realise the significance of the friendly last night for the opposition. I just kind of took it as it's a tour of the Austria and Czech Republic. We'll see what it's all about. But I think obviously the fact that it was their 100th anniversary, as you say, really added to the game, because the atmosphere, to be fair to their fans, from minute 1 to
it was amazing.
Minute 90, the atmosphere was absolutely electric. Like, even when Celtic were scoring, you still heard them singing and chanting, just having a good time. So, I mean, it was a kind of, all right, it was only a 15,000 seater venue, but it was an absolute cauldron to play in when you consider a pre-season friendly. We'll probably have maybe 5,000 more against Blackburn on Saturday, I would say. I wouldn't say there'll be any more than 25,000 at that. So when you consider that, a cauldron, a Czech cauldron, and, ruining their own birthday party, basically. So I actually, apart from the first 10 minutes, I really enjoyed that game. Looking forward, obviously, we'll have a similar, in fact, probably on a larger scale against Legia Warsaw, because I think their stadium's probably a bit similar kind of size to Parkhead, and it'll more than likely be a sellout for a legend. I think it is. I could be wrong, by the way, but I'm sure they, because of they held the Euros about maybe 10 years ago, so I think they've kind of, let's say, reaped the rewards of that and get themselves a nice fancy new stadium. But I think that'll be another really good test in front of Legia Warsaw fans. As we know, I've got the reputation of being quite kind of boisterous, so that'll be
absolutely
and intimidating.
Boisterous is the word of the night. There's Phil McGinley using it. You've used it. I've used it.
I didn't even see that.
The comments that's sitting there right now.
But, as I say, obviously we've got Blackburn and Norwich. That'll be whatever it is. But I think the Legia Warsaw game, kind of similar to last night, will be kind of the kind of best test we'll face this pre-season in terms of getting ourselves ready for the kind of atmospheres we're going to be facing in Europe this year, as you say.
Well, it's very interesting you say you think only 25,000 this weekend. I'm intrigued by that, David. I think there might be more there than Connor's maybe expecting. I've got a feeling there's quite a lot of excitement right now. I think maybe on the day you might be surprised with the numbers that show up at Celtic Park this weekend. I'm absolutely gutted I can't go. And it's not for a conversation for on here, but we'll have jobs, I suppose, that are full time. We're being confirmed there by David Ferguson, Mark Kearney, that it's 31,000 Legia Warsaw holds. Terry says they're actually struggling to sell tickets, but
that is absolutely miles off then.
Half it, mate. But hey,
just see whatever point I just made there. Cut it.
We'll cut it. But David, I think there's a growing excitement amongst the fans again. I think there's a real buy-in, particularly from the younger fans. And, it's very interesting because Neil Lennon wanted to blame the younger element of the Celtic fans for being almost impatient and they were expecting, and they were basically, only knew success. They'd been spoiled. Terms like this, I think it's very funny because I think that exact sort of generation and below, if you like, are the most excited right now under Ange Postecoglou. I think we'll see quite a few folks there this weekend. And by the way, I think you'll be doing well throughout this season, unless you're getting a season ticket from a mate. I think the general sale tickets that go on this year are going to go very quickly. I think there's a real buy-in, and particularly encouraging is from the younger echelons of our support.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't mean to be suki when I say that, but I'm going to the game on the weekend. I'm taking the wee one, and the missus is coming along as well. Just because it's difficult. It is difficult to get along to the games, especially what you're saying now with the amount of people, with the season tickets selling out, etc. And like you say, it's probably going to be very difficult to get a spare ticket. So take them when you can. But the thing with Neil Lennon's comments about the younger generation being spoiled and stuff, I think that was such an unfair comment to make. I think it's not really the younger generation's fault that we were conditioned of winning so much, and I think we put Celtic at a higher standard now. So once you hit that standard, you just expect it to be reached, if not overcome. So when we didn't reach that standard on that infamous 10 in a row season, of course we were going to be throwing shade the manager's way and the team say like this isn't good enough because we expect the standard that you have provided us for the last 9 seasons. It's only natural. You don't want to see regression, you want to see progression. But as for what we're talking about with the younger generation being excited to be going to the games, look, Ange has done exactly what he said he was going to do. He was going to bring a style of football that's going to get bums off seats. It's an exciting style of football, and I remember a lot of people that were saying online, from a neutral fan standpoint, as Celtic was one of the most exciting teams to watch last season. The exciting style of football. Okay, it was a bit kamikaze in Europe, but if you're a neutral fan, you're going to enjoy that when it's a goal fest. We played a really exciting style of football domestically, blowing teams away, which we'll certainly do again this season by just looking at what we're seeing in pre-season. And from what we've seen in pre-season, you get the idea that, okay, we're going to go see a friendly against Blackburn and Norwich in the next couple of weekends, but you could argue, the way we've watched Ange put the team out, we're going to see a much more feistier, boisterous, friendly.
I knew that was coming at some point.
So you're going to want to go and see it. If this is one of your only opportunities to see Celtic in the first season, when you're not going to see a friendly, you're like, they're a bit shy, they're a bit meaningless, you're not going to see much, they're going to be half-arsed. We've seen in the last 3 games that Celtic's pre-season is certainly not half-arsed. So I think we're going to see an exciting game worth going seeing. And when I looked at the tickets to buy them, I was struggling to find tickets that weren't covered up saying restricted view. Whether that's just because you're up in the gods or if there is a pillar in the way, I don't know, but we'll see when I get
restricted will be the pillar, right? Connor, I like this from you and boy Martin, who comes in, right? And thank you for jumping on the Bhoycie bus, you, and I hope you're having a good evening. He's a good evening, as that former Arsenal manager used to say. We have shown we can score against anyone, home or away. Once we shut up shop at the back, we will be frightening. Now, there's a couple of wee takeaways I get from this comment from you and boy Martin, Connor, and I want your thoughts on it because we always are going to be a team under Ange that can score against anyone. And I mean anyone. You'll back us to get a goal, mate. Like, we are capable, definitely. Just the press that we play, the pace that we've got in the team, the attitude of this and the style and the philosophy, we will be doing our absolute best to score against anyone. And I think we've got a great chance of scoring against anyone. And we've got the ability to shut up shop at the back. We will be frightening. How are Celtic going to shut up shop? When you look at the style that we play, you look at the pass backs already, we've seen a situation with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Joe Hart. This is by no way, by the way, us, pissing our pants over it. It was a pre-season friendly. There's going to be a bit of ring rust. That happens, right? That's absolutely fine. But we also seen it competitively last season as well. that when the ball was going back to Joe Hart, it wasn't particularly comfortable. The playing out from the back at times we could get penned in. And then obviously still set pieces and, headers at back posts we've seen as well. Connor, how are we going to address the leaking of goals at the back? Because we have looked swashbuckling going forward already. We were waxing lyrical about Kyogo and Chaos, his competition for a jersey last night. But at the back, there does still seem to be that same vulnerability, albeit we're missing Carl Starfelt. Do you feel that that's what the difference is? Or are we going to need to enhance that area of the park, Giant Conor McCann?
Well, I think in terms of you and Boy's comment there, I'm kind of the opinion he's leaning more towards on the European stage than domestically. I think if you look domestically, the record stands up pretty well. To be in fact, it was by far the best in the league last season. So, but in terms of Europe, I think if we weren't the worst, we're certainly among the worst for goals conceded. So I think it's just when we get to that next level, how do we take our kind of domestic kind of dominance in defence, if you like that? And I appreciate we're playing a far higher standard of team, so it's not necessarily going to be easy. But I think, as you say, Carl Starfelt will still to come back. I firmly believe by this point we will, without wanting to delve into Julian, I firmly believe we will sign another centre-back to directly compete for one of the two positions. Because I don't think at this moment in time, I know we mentioned Julian last week as potentially kind of coming back into the fold, but I don't think at this moment in time we've got a kind of third really strong centre-back that you can rely on. If I'm making kind of sense here, but
yeah,
I think I think we need a bit more depth at centre-back and be a bit more. Do you know? I've got a feeling looking at. I still think Taylor might be the man for the European stage. The example I'm thinking is actually when we went to Ibrox. So what would that have been? March. I think that's when Taylor came in. I think that was a kind of birthday Taylor for kind of news. I know you can also caveat that way against Bodo Glimt. He was probably one of the weaker players. I do appreciate that before we go into that. But I kind of felt as if that was a kind of birth of Greg Taylor, or a rebirth, as you say, of Greg Taylor.
Coming of age, hopefully.
Albeit that's a good way of putting it. I like that. We could just go around the houses and we'll all just think of a really good terminology for born again, rebirth,
terminology,
coming of age. We'll just go around it. Let's go around and just come up with different ways of saying that.
I think in terms of what you and Boy's comment was, if it's in relation to the pre-season friendlies as well, I don't think we've seen probably the defence we're most likely to see throughout the course of the season as of this point. And in my opinion, I think we need that wee bit more strength and depth at centre-back. Possibly an upgrade, but certainly somebody that's of a level that can compete with Starfelt and Carter Vickers.
I'm gonna come at you, David, on what Terry's saying. Now Terry's obviously kind of not backing down, but doubling down on his talking points from last night. Some post-match pish. He only wants one or two more players into Celtic, but he wants them both to be players that make it almost, when they sign, you look at them and you go, they're first 11 players. They're first team players. They're going to be instantly a selection headache, if not straight in at the team. That's what he wants. I was totally in agreement with that. I think there is enough of the depth, if you like. I think when Starfelt's not in, I think Welsh is a slight downgrade. Do I want a like for Starfelt? No, I want an upgrade on Starfelt. I think Cameron Carter-Vickers signing for £6 million is pretty much as high a level as we can look to be attracting for centre-backs. My hunch is, whether Ange would admit it or not is a different story, but I think Cameron Carter-Vickers has his jersey sort of nailed on. I think it's now up to who then comes in next. Would I want more depth for Carl Starfelt whilst he's out injured, or do I want an upgrade? I want an upgrade. That's what I think. And that's not me. You can't pin anything on Starfelt when he's not played, right? We've conceded goals in pre-season. He's been injured, so he's not part of it. But I also think it was an area of the part last season. Watching the campaign, I still feel, as much as he improved as the season went on, again, as Connor touches on, we're going into a different level again this time round. So Celtic keep evolving year on year. We don't have time to wait for people to catch up with us. We've got to keep evolving. And right now we're going into a tournament that's got far greater rewards. Therefore, you need far greater product on the park. We have decided to, sign down Cameron Carter-Vickers on a permanent deal. I think to improve the defence and to improve the leaking of goals, I think in my opinion anyway, I think the centre-back option, whilst it seems Julian might not be fancied, although we got more minutes again, David. I don't know if you noticed that, but he was on again. Stephen Welsh, I don't think any of us think is ready for the Champions League. I mean, this is Champions League we're talking about. I would like to see competition for that jersey. I would like to see it be someone coming in, as Terry was describing, as someone being like, they're going to be a first pick. They're going to be a first pick. And then maybe seeing a further improvement in Starfelt. And maybe that jersey being jostled for the same way Tony Ralston's and Juranovic's is right now, you could say. David, we can hold hope that, the defensive area can be improved on, obviously, on the training ground, but also in personnel as well.
Yeah, I say we need an upgrade on centre-back position isn't a criticism of Starfelt. I actually like Starfelt, and it's funny that you say that the goals that we conceded had nothing to do with Starfelt. I want to say that it has absolutely everything to do with Starfelt, because I think there was a massive Starfelt hole in that defence in those last few games. We've missed that Starfelt's side of the game where he attacks the ball and he just does the basic defending that you want to see your defender do.
He likes defending, eh?
Yeah, he likes that side of the game, which naturally he will because he is a defender. But if you know what I mean by that, like the chances that maybe we conceded might have been rectified, or it might have not have happened if Starfelt was in that back line. But right now we're very much seeing very much a pick and mix bag at the back right now. We're just kind of obviously the team's pretty much completely changing by half time, and all right, we'll try Welsh with Julian. All right, now we're going to try Welsh with Carter-Vickers, and then we're going to try Barnaby instead of Taylor. We're not really getting that, like you said, Connor. That's not going to be our starting back four or back five come the start of the season. But yeah, we certainly do need another centre back. I still like to see another because I'm not convinced that Stephen Welsh is the right answer for our third choice or fourth choice centre back. If I'm honest, I'd actually maybe think he would. He's very much further down the pecking order for me. I actually think Julian should still be ahead of him. I think I'm not going to get too much of Julian because he's been spoken about plenty. I think he's still got.
I must have missed that.
I think he's got enough to offer if we need him to step in, but he's certainly who this other centre back we could attract. I don't know whether we look at the free transfers. There's a few centre backs that come to mind that I certainly would like us to ask the question. Jason Denier, I don't know if he's got himself a club yet, but I still think we're in a position that we could attract him.
Rumour is he was on 52 grand a week at Leon, and
was he really?
By the way, that's hearsay off Twitter.
So that's obviously I'm just going by a player that I'm aware of that doesn't have a club that I would like to see go for it. I've not even considered whether we can afford these wages or not. If that's the kind of money,
because I thought of the same guy, to be honest. From hearsay on Twitter, that's what I heard. His wages were probably.
Mm-hmm.
But saying that, my knowledge hasn't been great today. I thought Legia's Stadium held 60,000.
I might as well be talking Fabrizio Romano right now because all the stuff he's getting right now. Yeah, but I certainly think an upgrade. You always want to upgrade the players that you've got. There's no. That's not criticising the players that we've got, but we're always evolving. We have to be looking to evolve as well. You're not just want to bring in a player that's going to be happy to sit on the bench, or we wouldn't bother looking for a centre back. We would just be quite happy using Stephen Welsh and arguably Chris Julian. If we don't look to improve, we should always be looking to improve.
I totally agree with you. I think we do need to bring in a third player that can compete with the two we've got now. Because I think from Starfelt and Carter Vickers, there's at this moment in time with Julian having not played for a while, a significant drop-off in quality for me from Starfelt and Vickers. When you're looking at the fact that Stephen Welsh at this moment in time is Angie's third choice centre-back, for me that's far too big a gap in quality between who's playing and who's knocking on the door, if you like.
You see, when we're watching the games, I can't help but when I watch it, notice, because it is a very much a pick and mix at the back, like, you can see the difference between when you have your mainstay defensive line that we've had of Taylor, Starfelt, Carter Vickers and Juranovic or Ralston. Those boys know exactly where they're meant to be, what they're doing. And you kind of seen that. Like, we look pretty comfortable dealing with things at the back. And obviously their defensive record last season shows that as evidence. And when you look at, obviously, Barnaby been introduced to the team and the young lad that we've brought up for the B team, they're not quite used to playing that Angie's invented fullback defensive style of football right now. So you can see it's almost like we're back at square one where they're just getting the hang of it. But when you see our usual guys at the back, we're so much more comfortable because they're just used to playing that way. There's a really interesting video that I think you should watch. I might have mentioned this before, but I was just, you go down a rabbit hole on YouTube and it was a complete breakdown. It's about a 20-minute long video breakdown of Ange Postecoglou's style that he played in the World Cup with Australia. And it showed you exactly why the defenders were doing exactly what it was. Really interesting to watch. I'm not clever enough to.
Is that the World Cup they got 3 defeats? 3.
Well, it might have been. It might have been the Asian Cup. It was one of the ones. But
that's Spain and Holland in that group. That one.
It might have been the Asian Cup. Either way, it's an interesting way to watch. An interesting way they break down how the players found them in the positions that they were meant to be. It's just an interesting thing to watch.
No, I'm joking, mate.
But yes, they did lose 3 games out of 3.
I hate when folks say he's a World Cup manager and that. I'm like, I wouldn't want that to be getting labelled if I've lost 3 out of 3. Doesn't matter who's in the group, it's still the facts. Connor, Scott Cameron, regular contributor in the Bhoycie Bus. Hope you're good, Scott. Would you look at Ben Davies again, Bhoycie? I've got to be honest, I'm not interested in players from a previous search history. At the end of the day, he's a player from a previous shortlist, not an Ange Postecoglou shortlist. So that ship sailed for me, unless Ange has brought in a fresh sheet of A4 paper, Connor, and he's went, what's the chances of that? I've got Ben Davies on my list as well. But I would imagine there's not many Liverpool players on Ange Postecoglou's shortlist. For me, I think it would be a lazy link for a journalist to do, Scott, that's why his name might be in the tip of your tongue now, because they will do these reports when his previous players been linked with Celtic. What benefit is it to us going for players that former management?
His personality doesn't suit Ange either. This is the guy that said he was going to come to Celtic, and like, fair enough, Liverpool come calling, you're probably you are going to turn a cheek if you're not, especially if you're not a Celtic fan like us. You are going to consider it. Like, this isn't a guy that's got his all in with the programme that Ange would be selling him to Celtic. Come to Celtic and play. Well, you already showed me that. It just takes another club to offer a little bit more cash for you to sit on the bench. And if you're happy to do that, then you're not the player that we want at Celtic. No. So I can't see it. Even if the board brought Ben Davies and sat him right in front of Ange and says, we want you to sign him, I don't think Ange would.
No, that was the reason I was pointing down and nodding my head there, by the way, because I wasn't shaking my head. Sorry, I was looking at Scott Cameron's comment there. I was doing it. I wasn't disapproving of David there. But,
no, you're fine.
I'm quite a strong no in that one as well.
What's this guy talking about, man? What the fuck's this guy talking about?
Basically, the guy. All right, he nearly signed a kind of pre-contract or whatever 2 years ago. Then chose Liverpool. He kind of went to Liverpool as an emergency signing and was kind of deemed no good enough when he was an emergency signing. They actually chose to go with younger guys. So, I'm not really interested in him. I doubt Ange, to be honest with you. As you say, the links were 2 years ago. Ange was nowhere near us 2 years ago. So, I think it is lazy journalism.
In comes Gaz Mick, 86, and he loves a shout out on the show, Gaz Mick. He's quite new to the bus, but he seems to be enjoying it, so that's good. But Gaz actually's got interesting points to make here, and I'm going to take this at face value because I don't know. I mean, he's backed it up with another comment below saying facts are facts, simple. So I'll read out Gaz Mick's, Mick K's 86's facts. Again, I am not privy to whether they are or not, but I will read them out. Starfelt apparently had the best defender stats in the league and when he played in the Russian league. So Gaz, based on that, says he doesn't see why some of our fans don't rate him. He wins the most tackles, he wins the most interceptions, and the most aerial duels. The guy is that fire emoji, you know. But for me, I think it doesn't surprise me if that maybe is the facts about Starfelt at Celtic. I'd be amazed if he wins the most. I think maybe you mean highest percentage, because there's no way he's under that much pressure in the league compared with a Ross County centre-back, for example. In fact, they finished top 6, but you know what I mean. In Europe, could Starfelt be an ace in the pack? Maybe, because the guy with the ball at his feet in time isn't always the best suited to it. I think he did improve that aspect of his game, Connor, I would have to say, but could we be doing Starfelt a disservice, and could actually be no, the further up the ladder you go in terms of competition, the actual more handy this guy's going to be, because as David already said, you know, this guy is the first point of contact when the ball comes into our box. He's the one that likes to put his head on things. Is that the reality? Do we bum it up a wee bit much because he is so poor with the ball at his feet? We just say he loves defending, or are we going to go with Gaz Mick's 86's facts? Remember, facts are facts. That he has got the best defensive stats in both the SPFL and the Russian league last year, which I'm not entirely sure of whether we can verify or not. But it is an interesting point, and we can look at it both ways, can't we?
The thing is with the stats is like, and I totally. Oh, sorry, mate. On you go.
Oh, big so.
Hey, oh no, sorry.
Let the newbie speak, David.
Lads, I'll leave you with Chris Sutton. On you go, Connor.
Sorry, I'm sidetracked now. What was the question? Starfelt.
Back to David it goes.
Just backhand that one right back to me, Connor. What I was going to say quickly was that I'm fully on board with what guys are saying. I really do rate stuff. I really like him. I like what he does on the pitch. But the whole thing with facts are facts. I'm pretty sure Starfelt's one of the top passing rates in the league as well. But you know, he's literally just passing it back and forward to Carter Vickers 2 yards away. So like facts can sometimes depend on what narrative you want to pull. But I certainly do like what I see from Starfelt, and obviously Gaz likes what I like as well. On you go, Connor. Say what you're going to say, my man.
Well, David, I'm a big Starfelt fan. Actually, you might have noticed in the comments, kind of a few months ago when the season was still going on, I was always the one that was, you know, right back and up. I actually think since probably a month into his Celtic career, Carl Starfelt's been really, really good. Andy's only got better. I mean, I think the most recent Rangers game, I think that was probably his best performance. The kind of performance you look at and go, he is a 5 million Swedish international now, and we're seeing it now. But in terms of what Gaz Mick was saying, I mean, I can't back it up because I don't really know if it's true. I don't imagine the guy tells porcupines, so I'm just going to take it as face value. But I can believe it. I mean, he obviously came with quite a big pedigree. He'd had a few caps for Sweden by that point. As you say, he's the first one there. He's a good defender. On the ball, I think he has got better. He is a wee bit ropey still, possibly for the Champions League. We'll see. Kind of, you go on about seconds.
How much of the ball are we going to have in the Champions League? Maybe.
Well, that's
we go by what Gaz is saying, it could actually be ideal.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I think it was. What was the example I was thinking of there? Kelvin Wilson, actually. Do you remember him in his first season looked like a total disaster? Then, as you say, playing in the Champions League, backs against the wall. Kelvin Wilson, I fondly remember in that Champions League run because he just defend. And do you know you could? All right, Shane Duffy had the Europa League games where he was terrible and all, but you could maybe argue that's maybe part of the reason it didn't work out for him. But Kelvin Wilson was kind of the example of somebody that in his first season just looked absolute muck. But then when it came down to kind of getting down and dirty, kind of dogged defending in the Champions League, that's when Kelvin Wilson came into his own. And at the time, I remember being really gutted at losing him.
Yeah, I was disappointed when he left as well, yeah.
Aye, because it was free. It was weird because we got him for free, and then we sold him back to Nottingham Forest for $3 million after 2 years.
I think there was some kind of family issue there, wasn't there?
He did an interview saying, I don't think he was that keen on the fact he'd left.
That rings a bell. I did watch his Logue and Conor interview, but I can't really remember what he said about it. But I just kind of remember saying at the time about him having that kind of issue with his family.
Is he not a Nottingham Forest fan? Is he not a Forest fan? No, was he not?
I don't know. He played for Nottingham Forest. We got him on a free from Nottingham Forest.
And then 2 seasons he went back or something.
He went back for $3 million. But the weirdest thing was, when you actually look at all the players in that era, that sort of time that left, like your Hoopers for Norwich, your Joe Ledley's for Crystal Palace, they all, and Fraser Forster, even when he came back on, they all talk piss retrospectively. They all go, I never wanted to leave, man. I never wanted to leave. Aye, you did.
You did.
You believe that, you believe anything. But I mean, it's lovely to have that. Oh, they never wanted to leave our club. But anyway, Scott Cameron comes in with another point. I'm going to bring it up because, as we say in the T.N.F, it's not about us to come up with the talking points. It's you guys. And I love this one for Scott. And I'm ready to actually dive a wee bit deep into this, because we're going to talk about Ralston for a wee bit as well. And by the way, I can tell Liam Greenlaw, who was on last night, hasn't seen that, has just asked the exact same question. Can Welsh be this year's Ralston? Scott Cameron says, is there any chance of Welsh having a Ralston-type season this coming season? Ange could work his magic on him. I mean, it's all about the player as well. I don't think it's fair to always put it on Ange. You know, he's not a guy with a magic wand. But I think it's a fair comparison that Scott and Liam bring to the table. David, I'll come to you first this time, big boy, right? I'll come to you first this time, because I don't know what...
I'll just butt
in. but what I think is, yes, there is every opportunity for Stephen Welsh, as it stands right now, in particular, with the centre-back options, that he could have an impact on Celtic's first team like Tony Ralston did last year. My hunch is we will strengthen further in defence, which will diminish that opportunity. But what I will say about Tony Ralston is, if he's not the example to not just Stephen Welsh, but everyone in that Colts team, every youth player at Celtic right now, when he put on the captain's armband the other night, he has got to be the shining light now. Callum McGregor, by the way, it's very interesting. I'll tell you a wee fact here, right? These might not be aware of. Callum McGregor made his debut for Celtic at 21 years old. Tony Ralston's breakthrough season at Celtic, where he made, 40, 50 appearances last year, he was 22. He'd made his debut for Celtic at 18. Not too dissimilar. And hey, it's worked out not bad for Callum McGregor. I think you're looking at these examples. Look at James Forrest getting a new 3-year deal at 30 years old. I appreciate he's maybe just about to turn 31. And then you look at the impact Tony Ralston's had last year, going on, international caps, extended 5-year deal at Celtic, then wearing the captain's armband in pre-season. I know it's a pre-season game, but it's still an image that will never, ever leave Ralston, by the way. That'll be on one of his walls, you know, him the first time he wore the captain's armband. I think it's just quality. These have got to now be, David, the examples for a Stephen Welsh as Scott Cameron and Liam bring into the equation. If Stephen Welsh doesn't believe this season can be a season like Tony Ralston's last year, then for me, he's as well packing his bags. And I don't think, I'm sure he will be looking at it. And I hope, not just Stephen Welsh, but I actually hope a lot of them are looking at Tony Ralston's breakthrough year last year and going, do you know what? Time is very much on our side here. And we will get a chance. And when you get it and you take it, anything can happen. How much of an inspiration is Tony Ralston? And you could say the other players I've named, but with the example that Scott and Liam have brought to the table, how much of an example is Tony Ralston for the likes of Stephen Welsh and others to use in the coming season?
Yeah, Ralston's a massive... he's a massive example of somebody that's believes in himself and isn't willing to take no for an answer. I mean, this guy went off on loan to, I'm sure, Dunfermline for a little while, and then obviously St Johnstone, and nobody would have given a shit if we decided to let him go. And I know a few St Johnstone fans that didn't rate him at all. Just like, we don't even know why we've taken him for years. We don't like him. Blah 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 blah. And so for him to do what he's done in the space of a year is absolutely remarkable. I mean, it's almost like a movie script almost. I mean, that's Hollywood, that kind of stuff. And this guy was like out the door. He was 1 foot out the door, almost didn't have a club to go to. And if it wasn't for the fact that we didn't have a right back in place, there was no contract going to be given to him, I don't think.
No.
Like, I think he'd out the door. And I mean, I remember what I felt when I saw really Ralston as our only right back option at the club right now, that we're at absolute dire straits. This is horrendous. But wow, I know I'm not the only one, but he's proved us all wrong. And you couldn't be more proud for the guy. You couldn't be more happier. Like, I'm absolutely buzzing to see how well he's done. I'm buzzing to be wrong about him, and I'm sure I can speak for pretty much everyone that felt that way. They've got to feel the same. As for example, for the likes of Welsh, I think, of course, Welsh, like you say, you took the words out of my mouth. He's got to be thinking that, or like you say, you might as well pack his bags. However, I think the opportunity may be there that Ange is obviously willing to rotate the squad and he likes giving youth a chance, but I don't think it's the same sort of level of circumstances that Ralston found himself in last season. Ralston didn't have any competition. He was our only option, and we did have to use him. And that pressure, obviously, he used that pressure as to light a fire and motivate him to get to where he is now. And obviously, then when Juranovic has got brought into the club, he's going, well, you're going to have to grab. I've taken this opportunity. You're going to have to grab that shirt off. You're going to rip that shirt off my back if you want to take my place. And that's the attitude that Ralston has shown. And he's clearly shown it again in pre-season. Like, that's him getting an assist in the last match there. For Welsh, he's got 3 very good centre-backs in front of him right now. It's not quite the same. I think the opportunity is going to be much more difficult. He's still young. He's still got... And a centre-back, he can... they kind of are able to play on a wee bit longer. That time is certainly on his hands. Whether a move away on loan would benefit him like it benefited Ralston or benefited Callum McGregor, I'm sure the option's there. He's under 21 Scotland captain for a reason. The Italian side were looking at him last season. Was it Indonesia? We're looking at him.
Indonesia.
There's definitely talent there. Whether the opportunity is going to be, if there's going to be enough opportunity this year, I think that's maybe the key word. Enough opportunity this year to pull a Ralston. I'm not so sure. Love it to happen, but I'm not so sure.
There you go. Connor, what do you make of David's comments? And we're going to bring up another David as well, David Ferguson, because I think they're kind of intertwined. We're kind of moving it on from could Welsh be the new Ralston to will Juranovic match Tony Ralston's determination for a first team cause. Now, I'll tell you the reason I actually bring up David Ferguson's comment. I don't know if you've seen the JJ quotes.
Today about Atletico.
Two ways we can look at this, okay? Two ways we can look at it. He says he hopes they're true. Now, it's easy for us to go, oh, what do you mean you hope they were true? Right? And we get all offended and, but realistically, if a rival company to where I work that pay triple my wages are, looking at my CV tomorrow, I'll be a wee bit happy as well, right? I'll be hoping it's true, okay?
It's flattering.
He's telling the truth, right? Or the flip side is, judging by his performance yesterday, we get all caught up in that and we start looking at it and going, do you know what? Is he one of those players on a career trip right now? Is he at an age where he's already checked out? Is he the next in line that have joined Celtic and used us as stepping stone FC? And will he match Tony Ralston? I thought Liam Greenlaw last night, again, I keep name dropping him now, but I thought last night he made interesting points about the competition between Juranovic and Ralston going forward next season, Connor, and he actually thinks he would be picking Ralston ahead of Juranovic if push came to shove. What do you make of it, Connor? Is he going to have that determination that our Tony's shown? You know, I'll give you a very interesting example. And this is all about perception in life, right? Perception. Any podcast or any even real media, MSM, that you hear talking about Juranovic, you've already said it. You've probably done it. You've done it, David. Everyone. You talk about Juranovic, and within the first 10 seconds of saying his name, you go, Croatian international fullback. Right? It's in your, like, it's all you're conditioned to say it. I don't know why. All the media are. We all do. You say Juranovic's name, you go, yeah, and we've got the option. Juranovic is the, Croatian international. You throw that in. Tony Ralston gets labelled with the Bricky. I wonder if there is a wee bit of a mind trick going on there already that's not been deliberate in any way, shape, or form, because I believe the Bricky terminology is endearing. But at the same time, are we a wee bit conditioned to think that Juranovic is instantly better than Tony Ralston for these wee sort of labels that are on there, and the fact he's a Croatian international? We've got a Scottish international, and the last time I checked, Scotland has the best fullbacks in Europe probably right now, or certainly, to choose from. When you look at the likes of Tierney, Andy Robertson, we've do no back for fullbacks. If you're getting a game in the Scotland team at fullback, Aaron Hickey, what is he, a £15 million fullback? I would like to think Scotland's got pretty good options in the fullback area. Tony Ralston being in there, fair play to him. Are we conditioned to think that Juranovic is instantly better? And do you think it's an interesting point for David? Could it be that Tony Ralston's more determined? But I'm going to take it a wee bit further. Could it just be that Tony Ralston's just as good?
Well, I can understand the question. I don't think there's any evidence to say Juranovic isn't somebody to stand up for the cause and fight for his place. If I'm being totally honest, I don't really see where the evidence of that is came from. The question
just is, will he be as determined as Ralston, Jake?
And again, I don't see why he wouldn't be. Obviously, Ralston's came through the Celtic Academy, but Juranovic is I think Juranovic is going on 27 now, so he's waited quite a long time in his career to get to a big club, as he kind of put it in terms of. I think he said, I'm flattered with interest, but I'm already at a big club. So he's waited quite a substantial part of his career to get to where he is, get on the platform of being a Croatian international, and then furthermore onto that,
it has
get to Celtic. So I don't think there's going to be any kind of lack of hunger or anything like that. In terms of, actually, I think it's a really good point you made there, actually, about how we're kind of conditioned to think. I mean, if I'm being honest, do I feel more comfortable with Juranovic at right back? Absolutely. Why is that? Possibly for the reasons you're saying. But, in terms of stuff like recovery, pace and that, I think Juranovic, to be honest, I kind of mentioned it in the comments about 6 months ago maybe, and not get slaughtered for it, but get disagreed with it on. I actually think Juranovic is the one that can step in and be the kind of vice captain kind of guy that Lustig was. I mean, that obviously sounds a bit lazy because they both played in the same position, but I kind of see them as kind of similar personalities.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, by the way, I thought Ralston was absolutely top quality yesterday. As a wee side note there, by the way.
Well, this is how he's coming to the fore, I think, of people's minds, Connor. You're right.
Yeah, because I was about to say Juranovic struggled, and then that's what first came to my mind. Ralston, when he came on, was absolutely exceptional. Now, I know it's a friendly, but if Ralston's going to be putting in performances like that all season, I think somebody was talking in the chat last night about trying to fit the two of them in, like you're obviously with the Kyogo and Giacomakis chat. I was actually kind of thinking that myself. I was sitting doing a wee doodle. I was like, could we play a 3-4-3 with Ralston right centre back, Juranovic right wing back?
I want to see this doodle, David. People want to see this doodle.
It's a doodle.
Get the doodle at me. Right, we'll get a pen and paper. And get
you
drawn.
said
it.
you'd done a doodle.
Here's what I did earlier.
I've just been making up stuff all night.
New show, the doodle with Connor. We got a doodle.
Alan McAnally's pen. But I'm going to
You're on 7 nights a week next year. You need to get content. I'll do a doodle show.
Superb, Connor. I love it. David, I'm going to bring up you and Boy Martins. We're on the same thread here. you and Boy Martin feels Ralston has more heart and aggression, but Juranovic is technically far superior. I mean, David Ferguson, again, I'll bring him up because he completely counters it. Ralston's stats, though, are far better than JJ's. He gets a lot more assists. He gets a lot more goals. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I think Giacomakis would much prefer seeing a cross coming into the box for Ralston at the minute than Juranovic. I think it's such a. I actually prefer to see Ralston in the team right now than I do Juranovic, and I'm not saying I want to see Juranovic go off
you'll
to
be slated
Atletico.
for that, mate. Yep, that's you slagging Juranovic. You must be slagging Juranovic if you're saying that, which I don't understand that mindset. I think it's brilliant competition, by the way. I agree.
The stats, we can go back to the facts are facts, stats are stats. The stats say that you're more likely going to get a goal from a cross for Ralston than you are for Juranovic. And Giacomakis certainly will agree with me there because the amount of goals he's got from a Ralston cross, it's right now like the whole technical ability thing versus heart and aggression. I think we could be doing Ralston a disservice saying that. Like, of course, Ralston has got the aggression and he's got the heart and desire, and he bleeds green and white. But you know, we've seen that boy pull a few tricks out the sleeve, and you know he makes great space for himself before he whips a ball, a really inviting ball in. And whether there's a player there that takes the chance or not, I don't know how many times I watch a game go, what a ball, Ralston! And what's that goal that Kyogo scored? That was an absolute beauty of an assist for Ralston. That floating through ball, Kyogo brought it over his shoulder and smashed it in. If that was Roberto Carlos or Marcelo or something like that, it'd be getting played constantly on Sky Sports all
You're
day.
right.
Yeah,
because it's the bricky
pings like that last year. By the way, I think that went under the radar a wee bit. As kind of range of passing for that position was actually really good last year.
I agree with Ryan McGinley comes in, legend of a lad. I look forward to meeting him again soon. But Ryan saying we can enjoy both. Absolutely we can. That is the important bit. I think it's just because it was the first time we'd heard from Juranovic obviously talk about the rumours that were kind of 2-3 weeks ago. I thought it was interesting what he said. And I actually generally don't give him a hard time for it. I do think he was just being honest, lads. I think he was just saying, I hope the rumours are true. Of course he wants bigger clubs.
Doing something right.
He also didn't say, I'm desperate to go or anything.
No,
he caveated it by saying, I'm very happy at Celtic. It's absolutely nothing to get worked up about for me. And see if he goes and we command a very, very good transfer fee.
Yeah.
So be it.
But this isn't about...
25 million, perhaps.
Hey. There's 25 million
a significant
reasons.
Undisclosed fee would go down well.
Well, considering Juranovic had a good full season, not just a good 4 months, I reckon he could be more than 25 million degrees Fahrenheit or whatever the 25 million is that these guys are talking about. Apparently it's pounds sterling, but I find that extremely, extremely hard to believe.
Remember, he's played. Sorry, before we move on, he played every game for Croatia in the Nations League at left back. You know, so there is no reason. If I know we've brought in Barnaby and we've got Taylor there, but if you're wanting to play the two of them, there's no reason why Juranovic can't be pushing for that left back position as well. And I think Taylor has room to move into the midfield at times with some of his passing ability. There's so much
I'll actually say something on that. See, apart from the Rangers 3-0 game where I thought Juranovic was absolutely sensational that night at right back, I kind of veered towards, I think his better performances might have been at left back. In all honesty.
There you go. I don't know what that says about the left backs options that we had last year. Whether he was better there.
Taylor had his rebirth in March.
He did. That's it. Came of age, was it, David? You said
came of age.
Taylor Mark II. I'm going to call it Taylor Mark II from March onwards. But we will move on. I mean, it's quite a generic or a very, very open question by Del. He's no back. He's working tonight, so he won't be on the sauce. So he's asking quite a broad question, but we'll take it on the chin anyway. We'll take it. Question for the panel, and we've not got anything to base this on. So this is merely predictions based on the guys there and whatever your hunch tells you. This does not become memes, guys, right? In 12 months' time, tell us we know fuck all, because right now we don't know anything because there's not even a game being played. And the squad isn't even complete yet because there will be work still done to it. Not that I'm ITK or ITL, just I'm convinced there'll be more work done to the squad. Now, questions for the panel. Who do you think will be Celtic's Player of the Year and the top goal scorer next season? Conor McCann.
Struggling, to be honest. I think.
By those laughter faces, Dale clearly is on it. He clearly is. I can tell.
Let's say it goes as we hope. We have a successful European campaign as well as domestically. The defence is going to be a lot stronger for having the £6 million man, Cameron Carter-Vickers, who was a lot of people's Player of the Year last year. I'm going to veer onto Carter-Vickers, but there's a few options. Surprise package, I'm going to say. Well, no surprise package, but one you probably wouldn't think. I think Daizen Maeda is going to absolutely fire this season. And top goal scorer, there's only one. Well, in fact, there's obviously two men, but I think Chaos will be the top goal scorer.
So let's. I'm gonna push back a wee bit, right? And I'll tell you the reason why. Player of the Year is very difficult because if he says Celtic's Player of the Year, is that going to be voted for by the Celtic players? We need to maybe specify it because I think it's interesting. I think I'll tell you the reason why I'm bringing this up and sounding pernickety, because I think when it comes down to a player's Player of the Year, i.e. voted for by your rivals that you play against, I could totally see Maeda winning that. I could imagine every fullback and the central defender in the country going, he was a nightmare.
He's horrendous.
Do you know what I mean? Vote him. And they've all voted for Maeda. Would you see him getting it as Celtic? So it's interesting when you look at it because there is variations of what a Player of the Year is. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. My hunches tell me about Maeda.
I like it though.
I love Maeda.
If we get him just playing out left, I think he's going to absolutely fire this season.
I will come to you, David. Who do you think the Player of the Year and the top scorer will be? Connor is convinced, David, it's going to be Daizen Maeda, Celtic's Player of the Year, and it's still going to be Chaos Giakoumakis.
I did say Carter-Vickers, but Daizen Maeda's my surprise package.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
You said CCV. I want to put on record, I love Maeda. As soon as he came in the club, I'm just really hoping that he would do well. And but to answer the question, I'm going to go with Matt O'Reilly as the Player of the Year.
Okay.
I think we'll see him really come out his shell this year. Like, it's already starting to show some real quality. I know it's only pre-season, but like, I think he's a really, really, really talented boy. I don't think we'll hold on to him for very long. As for top goal scorer, I'm going to push back and I'm going to go with Kyogo. It's always going between Chaos and Kyogo, and I think Kyogo's going to. I think he's going to see more game time than Giakoumakis, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately. I just think Ange, what Kyogo brings, it's a whole argument of like, why can't they play the two of them? Well, I don't think Ange will. So I'm going to just go with Kyogo. I think Kyogo's going to get more starts than Giakoumakis will. Therefore, I think he's going to just his movement off the ball is just phenomenal. And if Turnbull continues to show that him and Kyogo seem to have a really good understanding of each other, I think we could see if he stays fit, I'm talking 30 goals this season. Over
Turnbull's way to pass, was it for the first goal last night? It was
superb.
What we saw for Turnbull in that game last night was exactly what I think Kyogo was missing last season, was just that somebody just put in a nice through direct ball right through the middle to allow, like, he was almost. They're at that point now where they've been played with Kyogo long enough that they don't even need to look and they know where he's going to be. They know where he's going to be running. They know what position he's going to take up. Whether it's that ball in from behind or that cross the ball across the face of goal, it's like they just know that he's going to be there. And I just think that's why he's going to.
An interesting take on that, Dave, because I like where you're going with it. I think Kyogo, we have found quite a lot, is ahead of the curve. He's almost making runs that not enough of our players are picking up on, right? Not Kyogo's fault. We want him making these runs. here's the argument for it being Chaos to be the top scorer, right? Chaos is exactly where all the players expect him to be. And he is the FTF. This is the T.N.F, right? The Thursday Night Forum. He is the FTF, the first time finisher. You can hear JR saying it, David, and I know you like your wrestling, mate, but you can hear it.
Back on! Back on!
The first time finisher. That's what he is, mate. He is the first time finisher, mate. And I think Chaos will find himself in positions that, and I'm not criticising the rest of the team here, because I do think Kyogo's actually on another level with some of his moving. Some of it also thinks quite erratic at times, and I go, looks like a clever run now, Kyogo, right? But there was a simpler run you could have made there, right? There's plenty of space in front of you, but that's me being a bit pernickety. Chaos, I think, is a more obvious ball to find, and I think he makes players have a better assist rate because he will get on the end of them. And his first time finishing record, as I say, is outstanding. I think the two of them, if we keep them fit for the next 9-10 months, guys, right? Which is a big ask, because both of them had sustained periods out last season. But just say we do. Just say we do. I think Chaos is the best finisher at the football club. Giakoumakis, first time finisher, the FTF, and I think he makes it easier for the rest of the team. Not because that's a slight on Kyogo. I just think sometimes Kyogo's making runs that we just don't have enough players on that wavelength. I mean, this guy's played with Iniesta. No offense to David Turnbull, but it's a different level, right? Hey, there's the cat. Sorry, I think the cat's well aware, by the way, he's on camera there, you can tell. But I do believe that when you've been getting through balls for Iniesta, and that's the wavelength, Celtic is a wee bit of a come down at times, even if Iniesta's 43 years old, right? He's going, I know the run you're making, mate. I used to be Messi, I used to play them too, right? Didn't let the grey hair and the bald head fool you. Do you know what I mean? You make the daft run, I'll find you. And Kyogo at times isn't going to get found as easily by Celtic standard players. That is not me being a dick about Celtic standard players. I don't mean it nasty. Giakoumakis is more obvious. Giakoumakis does exactly what it says on the tin. He brings chaos to the party. He is there, shoulders back, chest out, get the ball in the box. I'll win my headers. I'll win my first time balls. We'll get a lot of goals. But I do believe if we keep them both fit, this will be the most prolific two forwards we've had at Celtic since Sound the Klaxon, the Martin O'Neill era, where you really did have, Hartson and Larsson both getting at times like 25, 30 plus. Sutton, maybe the 15 to 25 bracket. I mean, it was frightening, really, when you look back. I think this year could be the first time we have two strikers, really pushing each other to get 30 plus each. Considering the amount of volume of games Celtic will play this season between all the competitions, it's very likely. In terms of a player of the year, I want you to come in on that and why.
Sorry, you cut out a wee bit there for me.
Sorry, mate.
What was that? Sorry.
Sorry, player of the year, David, that you were going to say. Because I think we've only discussed your goal scorer of the year. Who's going to be it?
I think Matt O'Reilly.
Sorry, you did say that.
That's a good show.
Well, can I ask a question? Do you think Kyogo and Giakoumakis can or will force Ange to figure out a way to fit them both in the team?
I think it'd be remiss of Ange not to try it.
I think the more the two of them are going to perform how they have been well, obviously Kyogo was injured most of the end of the season, but the more the two of them play to their capabilities, the more it's going to get discussed, the more Ange's hand is going to get forced to the two of them. I think we will see it before long this season. I mean, to my knowledge, we've only ever seen it for about half an hour on the pitch together. The only time I can remember it, but albeit the game was a bit of a disaster, but was the Livy home game where they drew nothing each. That's the only time I can actually remember the two of them being on the park together.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's strange. It will happen. I think it's a great question, David, right? Because obviously there is you can't help but feel Ange has a reluctance perhaps to change his exact formation. But I don't think he's overly stubborn that he wouldn't. I don't think this guy gets to the level he has 26 years of management, having never maybe tried to up top once upon a time, David, right? I think it's pretty naive. People think, you're almost criticising Ange if you suggest a different formation for him. It's crazy. Folk are too ball deep in Postecoglou, in my opinion. That the biggest concern for me with Celtic next year will be if things were to go a wee bit Pete Tong. Will Ange Postecoglou get fair scrutiny? I don't think so. I think there's too many fans already far too down that path where they're so up his arse. You can't even change formation without it seeming like you're critiquing the manager and questioning Ange. It's nonsense. This guy's been in management for 26 years. He's played two up top plenty of times. Let's get real here. And he will again. I think it might come down, though, guys, to what Kyogo and Giakoumakis do. They might take any reluctance that Ange may have. And I'm not going to go as far as point blank refusal. I think any reluctance he's got to do, they might take that doubt away for him. Do you know what I mean? They might make it a question they can't afford to say no to. And I always remember John Hartson did this. I've said this before on the podcast. John Hartson started up front at Ewood Park, funnily enough. Blackburn Rovers are opposition this weekend. And Martin O'Neill took Paul Lambert out the team, club captain, right? Champions League winner. Took him out the team and went with Sutton, Larsson, Hartson. He had to eventually. Hartson had been at the club for about 14, 15 months by now. And he'd just done too much in that time. Too many goals, too many great displays by Sutton. Obviously, Henrik's not getting dropped. And before you know it, the decision was taken, I think, effectively out of O'Neill's hands. Now, we did that, bear in mind, with a 1 goal, no away goals against, because away goals counted for 2 at that point. We had a 1-0 home win. We could have went there and tried to shut up shop, and we had the personnel to do that. But Martin really wanted to pick his best 11. And the best 11 eventually became a new way of playing. And I think you will find Postecoglou is a supreme manager and is proving it time and time. He's not an idiot. If these guys make it impossible for him to keep them both out, you make the call.
I genuinely think in another world, well, we would have seen 2 up top probably from September last year if Edouard stayed at the club longer than he did. Because you'll remember the game against Rangers we played at Ibrox.
When we
get beat 1-0, but we actually, for me, we were actually probably the better team that day.
We were unlucky.
It was just that point. It was so early in the season, like we're still getting everything together. But anyway, that's irrelevant to the point. After the game, Ange said his one regret about the team was no playing Kyogo centrally because Edouard played through the middle and Kyogo played in the left.
Yeah,
I think that might have been Edouard's last game in a Celtic jersey. I'm not actually 100% sure, but if Edouard stayed, we might have seen it more because it kind of then worked out that Giakoumakis was injured and Kyogo was fit, and then Kyogo was injured and Giakoumakis was fit. There wasn't a lot of kind of crossover between the two of them, if you like. So that's why I think before long this season we will definitely see the two of them in the pitch together.
David, let's have Ange just have the decision taken out his hands, eh? And do you know what that would mean? That would mean these players just continue in the rich vein of form that we seen last year at different times because of their injuries not, coinciding with the other one being fit. Now at pre-season, it's one half Kyogo, one half Giakoumakis, same result from them both. If the decision is taken out of Ange's hands, it means a positive thing for Celtic fans, David, doesn't it? Because it means those two boys have just kept going, kept rocking and rolling. I think it's so exciting, and I still want one more striker too, ladies and gentlemen. That's been an hour and 30 minutes. We're going to call it there. There is 120 people watching live. Massive thank you to you all. I appreciate all the comments on the T.N.F, as does Conor and David, of course. A big reminder, we have loads more content coming up over the weekend. I can't remember. We're not doing anything tomorrow, are we? I don't think so. And then Saturday... No, we don't. We're kind of trying to put a plug on that. The bus is a bit busy, mate. But we will come up with a different format using the current contributors we've got for next season. Also, Saturday, we're going to be doing post-match pish. Phil McGinley hosting his first ever post-match pish. You know those butterflies, David. You've been down that road before, mate. And I look forward to seeing Phil hosting a few of you guys doing that after the Celtic Blackburn game. Sunday, double day for shows. We have got the amazing Sunday Celtic Blether with Regan Stevenson and Mark Kearney. plus one other. Hopefully, it should be Dell. And then at night, Dell was signed on the back of his success on the Celtic Sports podcast on YouTube. He's decided to move his show over to the Bhoycie Bus, and he will be doing My Celtic Story. And it is actually with Phil McGinley. You'll be sick of the sight of these guys by the end of the weekend. We've got all that to look forward to. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that in 17 days is Flag Day for Celtic. And of course, after that, it is the Bhoycie Bus live at the Bullfrog in Motherwell. Free entry, free ticket. We don't make a dink off it. I'm going onto the Curry's website tonight to buy some microphones, lads. I might get a couple of other bits of tech as well. You never know. But we are looking forward to that massively. If you've not hit the like button yet, please do, so we still get that traction on YouTube after the show finishes. Do hit the subscribe if you enjoyed the comment, the content or whatever. Anything else for you lads tonight?
Nah, just looking forward to getting back to Parkhead this Saturday. It's been, after the stresses of last season, it was actually a bit of a welcome break, but I'm more than ready to get back there, so I'm excited for the weekend.
Absolutely.
Yep. Same here. Looking forward to it. It'll be good. It'll be really good to be back. So I might see you there, Connor.
Maybe see you there, mate.
Oh, that's so cute. I think it'll be good. We T.N.F photo and all that. That'd be nice.
I will see you at the Bullfrog,
guys. Brilliant impact for both of you again tonight. Input, brilliant impact. I mean, I just sounded like a clown there. We're gonna end the show before it gets any further. Thanks for your impact.
His comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.